Okay, I don't want to hear another word about freedom of speech. Welcome to Shave&Butcher. Early morning again. This has got to stop. It's so much nicer to shave in the evening. The razor today is one I haven't used in several years. It's one of my better looking razors, I think. I like the shape of this. This is Lindner Co from Solingen in Germany. One of the first razors I restored myself. Nicely polished, original translucent scales in horn. It's a wedge pretty much, and I think the washer, is that original, or if I made that myself from an ice scraper that you use on the car. Very creative. The soap is from Portugal. It's from WestMan Shaving. Rastilho. Sorry, I forgot to check the pronunciation. It's fuse in Portuguese, like you put on a bomb. This is pomegranate and firewood. The scent notes are something like pomegranate, firewood, birch tar, myrrh, plum, incense, and a few other things. But yeah, you get the gist of it. I have the matching aftershave balmy lotion. Very cool, a little bit like Cigarette Man, but more like a balm. Beautiful product. The brush is one I picked up in France. Gentleman Barbier. Thuja handle, and it's a little 2-band badger knot. There you go. Yep, morning. In a little bit of, not a rush, but I must haste a little bit. Off to a conference, second day of the conference. Conference is in the town where I work, so that's convenient. I skipped conference dinner. Ah, that felt so good. If you've been to conferences, you know what it's like. You drink wine and you have a drink or two after dinner, and you wake up just tired. So I went home, and fine, I have a drive to, but it's the usual drive to the office, right? And a bit of a walk, and yeah, lovely. I feel good decision. You know, there's always the social aspect of things and networking. Wow, I had a lot of water in this one. Networking is important, but I know almost all the people who are there. Because it's the Swedish wood pellet industry. So I talked to the people I wanted to talk to, except for one or two, which I'll catch today. So good. I'm going to be more fresh than they are. That's for damn sure. You know, I put on a tie yesterday. Ties have completely gone out of fashion. By the way, I think this edge is not good enough, so I have a backup razor, but let's see. Yeah, so wearing a tie was nice. I think I was the only one out of 200 people who had a tie on, so I'm gonna wear one today as well. It's a nice feeling, you know, if you don't wear it all the time. Yeah, I think it might be a bit dull, actually. We'll see. It's always, for me, it's with a wedge in particular, it's hard to tell when you go with the grain. Because there's never any major resistance. If there's anything like a decent edge on it, but when you go against the grain, you really feel it. And then wedges have a tendency of feeling a little bit tuggy, even though they're not. There's just more resistance. Yeah, it doesn't, it's not the flow in the shape. Or maybe I'll just do one pass. And I can get back to 2-pass shavings in the evenings. You know, important things to consider in a wet shaver's life. Planning for the next one. It's cutting hair all right. I like the razor too much not to use it, so perhaps it needs a touch up. But you know, just like the Swedish razor I used, was it yesterday? The big one. If you have a good edge and you clean the razor, make sure it's dry and put it away in a dry place, like I have this box, nothing really happens to the edge, even though it's years that pass. Fascinating. And I never put any oil on because I have oil. I just think it's messy and I haven't really seen the use. But I think that's because my box is good, you know. I have a little box and it's good. Okay, let's see. Wow. Huh. Yeah, it kind of works. Okay, if you go really slow and don't push, I think you can make it work. Might be tricky around the neck. But I've discontinued using certain razors. You know, because I felt they weren't good. And then I picked them up. Picked them up years later and they worked fine. Because I've improved my technique. Or, you know, like today I go slower and really don't use any force. And maybe have to do a little buffing. I mean, you shouldn't have to. But some razors just aren't perfect. But that's all right. It's a good result. Just requires a bit more time and attention. Huh? So this definitely is not a perfect razor, perfect edge, but I want to go slow and see if I can't get a near perfect shape without too much irritation. you know, just by being careful. Because, you know, it cuts hair, it sure does. I forgot I was in a bit of a hurry. That's what wet shaving will do to you. Okay, neck, trickier area. Let's see. Oh, the scent on this soap is fantastic. Dark and sweet at the same time. Nothing difficult with it. So it has this depth, but no one's gonna be annoyed by it. Quite a skill, actually. He is Thiago. He is phenomenal at producing good scent. Okay, go slow, remember. Okay, that's a usual shave, just a bit slower, so wipe the razor blade off. This is so polished and shiny that I really want to make sure there are no watermarks. Here's a dry towel. There you go. Okay, so time to meet the judge. Yep. Good shave. Oh, not perfect, but good. Definitely average in a mathematical, statistical way. Took me a few minutes extra, maybe. Not even. Razor that required patience. Rastilho. Oh, that's way too much. But then again, I never use these things up. What does he call it? Handmade Rastilho aftershave emulsion. Aftershave emulsion. Emulsion. Yeah, a few places that could have been a little bit better. Oh, the smell on this. Phenomenal. Phenomenale. Very good. Thanks for watching. You can use razors that aren't perfect. Witch hazel based, so no alcohol, witch hazel based. But when you've had not a rough shave, but a shave where, you know, I talked you through it, you can feel the witch hazel too. It's not stinging, but sort of stinging a little bit. Beautiful product. WestMan Shaving. Check them out. They're in a few places in Europe, I can't remember, and in the US they're at Pasteur's and the Razor Company, I think. Check them out. Perhaps my favorite new artisan, definitely. Stay sharp and